find.
That's Mamaw Joe's mother.
So my
Your great grandmother and grandfather.
And Mom.
That's neat.
And this is your grandfather, your great grandfather here, and your great grandfather there.
Okay.
And then we want to go back to the more greats.
I'm actually videoing right now.
That way.
Wait. So that's my
Your great grandmother. This is your great grandmother. They're different because this one is her mother.
So that's my
And this is
Remember
your
Martha
great.
Catchins? And I sent y'all the picture of the Martha Catchins when I was doing my research.
That's it.
This says Martha
Looks good,
Catchins.
It does. I'm
Wife
pleased
of
with it.
W.B. Nixon. Yeah, that's it. Martha Catchins. Do you remember that?
I'm pleased with it.
Lisa, August 14th.
They were
She
just
died on
way
August
overdue.
14th.
Shame on me.
It's a blip in time.
Shame on me, but hey,
It's a blip in time.
Mom, we got you all recognized now and your marker and your place in the world.
Darn right.
Josie Alma.
From 1987 to 2011, it seems like a long time, but in the scope of things, it's just a blip.
That's right.
You
And I
know,
wonder if
be here forever.
I told him that there was, that my mother came out here and put bricks down at the foot of this grave, that she was protecting her mother's grave with bricks.
So, in
This grave used to be outlined in bricks.
which way is she here or is she here?
No, she's back here.
Yeah, she's here. That's right.
That's my grandmother. That's my great grandmother. That's my great great.
That's my great.
Yes.
Did y'all know that all graves face east?
I love this person.
Oh no.
Yeah, every graveyard, traditionally speaking, faces east. And the reason behind that is when the sun rises, like in biblical, you know, if you read in the Bible, when the sun rises, it's going to rise in the east, and so they want all the bodies to rise up facing when Jesus comes. So it's true. Abercrombie's actually showed that to me. In any graveyard that you go by, if you look at it, graves are always facing east. Think of the one in Roswell, going in Woodstock.
Graveyard or the grave?
No, the graves themselves.
I'm assuming that's why these are backwards, right?
Well, the
We
bodies
know.
are over
My
there.
Right.
grandfather,
East is that
my
definitely
great grandfather, but not on his
especially
side.
traditional ones like this.
But that is backwards compared to
Right.
this.
Right. I mean, normally they face the. So I'm assuming that's why it's backwards.
No, you want to be there when the sun rises. The
Smiling.
sun.
Put a rose in your hair.
S-U-N and S-O-N.
I have something.
This is continuous.
I have something that I want to read. I put it together last night, and it's like
Abercrombie
wrote
shared
it in the
with me
dark,
when I was-
so it's like really.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, come here. I wrote this last night, and sitting on the floor by my bathroom while the kids were sleeping, so it's not.
I was in the sleep.
It's not perfect, and I might not be able to even. I haven't even proofread it, so I don't know if it's going to be able to read smoothly, but. Okay.
This is sweet.
Just some memories. And y'all should be able to add to it. I'd like my kids to hear it. Come over here,
Come here,
guys.
Katie. Bug. Katie, come
These
here.
are just memories. Some of it won't make sense to you, and some of it will. But, okay. Mamaw Joe, oh, how we remember you and the sweet love you gave to each of us. You used to tell us all the time how you wish we lived closer so we could stop by for tea or coffee. But I know how you'd love to be prepared for our visits with a fresh egg custard pie from Mrs. George, homemade corn fritters, deviled eggs, fresh sliced tomatoes, and an ice-cold Coke right out of the bottle. I remember how fun it was to look at the bottom of the bottles as we sat on the front porch to see where the bottles came from and whose was the farthest away. The front screened-in porch had so many special memories. Games of Old Maid, Rookie, and Let's Go Fish fill my mind. I can hear the sounds that the rockers made on the floor. Oh, that's something I didn't put in here.
Yeah, and hear the train, Cindy?
Yes. I can hear the sound that the rockers made on the floor of slightly uneven surface. I can also remember how hot the days and nights were in the summertime at 440 East Cherokee Drive. In the daytime, I can remember hearing you say, "Hush, listen, we need to go see The Young and the Restless," as you could hear Nadia's theme playing as we hurried up from the back kitchen. I also remember the hush, listen instructions as we sat around the kitchen table with the light bulb with the single chain and the very sloped brown floors as we listened to the radio that sat next to the cookie jar that looked like Inez. Also memories of being in the kitchen included the tall, white, intimidating refrigerator that you told us stories about how Dad, as a young boy, having to sit up on top of. Breakfast included bacon, eggs, and toast folded into a sandwich, and really
and how
yummy.
many different ways you could say it. Bacon, eggs, toast,
Right.
bacon,
I'll add
eggs,
that.
bacon. How many ways could you say it?
Yeah, I gotta add that.
And she put the little bacon in little squares.
always cut her bacon in
not
two.
slices,
They're
but
not long
little
pieces,
pretty
they were-
little 1-inch pieces, like little, and she put them in a fan. That's awesome plate.
So they were folded into yummy thick. They were folded into a sandwich and really yummy thick chocolate milk in big heavy round glasses. In the winter,
coffee.
And tea coffee. Good. That's why I want you get to come back and add because I wanted to do this with y'all, but y'all were with Dad. And I
Which
didn't
is
want
just
Dad to know.
coffee fixed like tea because it has cream and sugar.
Right.
You're doing a good job, though.
In the winter, I remember mugs of hot chocolate. I also remember you, Mamaw, standing at the kitchen sink, hand-washing dishes, and telling us stories about how the first time you made gravy, and how it was so thick you could use it to hang wallpaper, and how you had to keep adding water to make it just right. It seems like you said your mother taught you how to make a gravy. I also remember you looking out the window over the sink and telling us all about how our dad used to play football in the big, beautiful yard that I always remembered have very plush green grass. You also used to try and point out the cemetery just beyond your backyard where you try to show us the big monument here that served as a visual marker of where your darling Lee and your sweet mom were buried. Each and every time you spoke of Papa Lee, your eyes filled with tears. How it is so hard to believe that today, over 20 plus years later, we are standing here right at the place where you used to speak of. We are here to celebrate your birthday and to honor you and your mother with the new markers. I'm sure if you knew we were coming, you would have put a rose in your hair. I can still see you looking into the big mirror in the front room as you patted the back of your head to make sure all of your many hair bobs were in place, each perfectly placed around each group of hair that you rolled up so that when unwound they would make the perfect curl. Remember how she used to show us how she made curls? I remember your pretty white hair and I thought you were beautiful. You always told us we were beautiful as you welcomed us each time we came to visit by singing Here She Comes Miss America. I remember the big black heavy phone 833-4229 and you said 4 more like both. I remember anxiously waiting for a phone call from Mamaw George's house when we stayed there so I could tell my mom and dad goodnight. I remember the stiff sofas with big deep grooves in the pattern, in the fabric pattern where I would trace with my finger like a road.
And the bowl of divinity.
I remember the
couch.
sofa cushions. I remember the sofa cushions were elevated because there were other cushions under the cushions. I remember in the wintertime the little floor heater was on that smelled like gas.
Yeah.
But I remember you never used the big window box air conditioning unit because you said it made too much noise. I also remember me wishing you would. I remember the coffee table always had a pretty jar with a pointy top with peppermint candies inside it. I remember
Or divinity.
I remember small Christmas trees sitting under the air conditioning box with lots of stringy silver tinsel full of $1 bills hanging on each tree. I remember a painting over one of the chairs that I always thought was of you and your mom, but later learned it was not. I remember my dad often sat in his chair by the painting that was also sat in the chair. I also remember the painting that was also by the door. Oh, I remember my dad often sat in that chair by the painting that was also by the door that went into the middle room with the beautiful chase lounge and the cool piece of furniture that belonged to my dad when he was a child. In that furniture was a basketball that was heavier than any basketball I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
I wondered how Dad had played basketball with it. I remember the other painting in the front room in the corner by the piano. It was a painting you painted with a deer in it. And somewhere also was the one you made where you always told the story about how you loved to make something out of nothing. I think you used wallpaper to cut out pretty red flowers to paste on your vase.
They were her curtains.
They were
Kitchen
curtains. That's right. I also remember listening to you sing a song, I love you truly, truly.